Since I discovered the law of attraction now 13 years ago, I've been actively trying to simplify it. I've learned about various different philosophies that complement it, certain areas of science that could explain it, and I'm at a point where I do believe I have gathered the prerequisites for successfully manifesting stuff within your life. And by prerequisites, what I mean is these are the things that you could focus on and just disregard everything else. And if you just focused on mastering these things, then I don't think you would ever ask me another question. I've read well over 100 books, all in an effort to find this formula, and I will share as many as I can with you at the end of this video, as many as I can so I don't waste your time, so you can read them if you'd like and find my sources if you're interested. Prerequisite number 1 is starting from a state of well-being. Many people try to generate changes within their life from outside of this state, meaning they're desperate and they're just not feeling very good in general right now, which is quite sad news if you ask me, because the law of attraction and or assumption tends to draw in many people who are feeling quite low and they're feeling as though they're out of options and this just happens to be their last resort. But even outside of this ideology, let's take religion for example. How many people only pray when they desperately need something now? In self-development, weight gain or loss is a very big one. How many people will start a new eating plan or fitness plan and then just quit it because they don't feel good? It's not that calorie restriction, for example, feels bad per se. It's that we feel bad in general. So it was never about which diet you chose. They were always going to suck because you feel sucky in general. If you're not in a state of well-being and you just don't feel good in general, then almost nothing will feel good to you. Even when you break the diet, you're still going to feel bad about that. You feel guilt and regret. When you're on the diet, you feel restricted and limited and as if you're in some sort of lack. So the point I'm trying to make here, I'm trying to get you to see that if you start from a state of well-being, then no matter which technique you try, no matter whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's prayer or self-development or manifesting, everything will feel good to you because you feel good. But when you are not feeling good, it doesn't matter what you do, it will always feel bad to you. Which is why it is always optimal to start manifesting, to start generating positive changes in your life from a state of well-being, which is why a state of well-being is a prerequisite to the law of attraction/assumption. Another reason why cultivating a state of well-being within yourself is crucial before even trying to generate new changes in your life is because when you are well, you are detached. Detachment is not a negative thing. All it means is you are not enslaved by anything, person, or idea. No noun owns you. You are free, you are liberated, you are open to roam and receive. Your hands are open in a sense. So if I handed you that theoretical cup of coffee that you wanted, you are free to accept it. That's what detachment can give you. Before we continue, I would like to thank the sponsors of today's video, Beekeepers Naturals. Their propolis throat spray specifically is a daily throat spray to proactively support your immune system or to soothe a dry throat or cough whenever you're under the weather. Propolis is what the bees use to protect the hive. It fights germs and supports our immune system with minerals, antioxidants, vitamins, and 300 more beneficial compounds. It's been studied to be antimicrobial and antifungal to help fight germs. And this is the main ingredient for Beekeepers Naturals. I use Beekeepers for a plethora of reasons. I use my voice quite a bit, so sometimes my throat does get dry. But one of the main reasons is Beekeepers Naturals works exclusively with sustainable and small-scale apiaries, ensuring the bees are far from harmful chemicals and their hives are never over-harvested. That's super important. All of Beekeepers Naturals products are made with clean ingredients, always free of artificial colors and preservatives, and third-party tested to ensure they're pesticide-free, which is better for us and for the bees. They only use science-backed ingredients that actually work. Along with propolis, I personally use this as another way to get more iron, along with the natural flavonoids and polyphenols that fight free radicals and combat oxidative stress. There are over 300 beneficial compounds within this bottle, and I get them all daily with just a few sprays to my throat. So click the link in the description box and use my code if you're interested in adding this to your medicine cabinet. When you're in a state of wellness, you are naturally grateful and thinking more positively. You are more at ease, you're more relaxed, you're more open, so energy can flow in and out of you. So if you just focused on wellness and on feeling well, you'll start noticing all your prayers being answered. You'll start noticing that your eating and fitness plans are somehow working now. All the things that you've been manifesting for years will start pouring into your life because you are open to receive them. Whenever I say trust the process, really the process is you. You are the process. The timing is you. It's really all about how long it takes you to get to that state of wellness where you're open to receiving what it is that you want, where you're open to allowing what it is that you want to come in. And wellness is that state of openness, of ease, of trust, of detachment. That is the optimal state you want to aim for whenever you're trying to generate changes in your life through any medium: prayer, self-development, through science, spirituality, whatever it might be. You need to be open. You need to be well. Here's a little note for you though, before you start feeling negatively, assuming you're in a negative state already as it is. Even if you feel like absolute crap right now, you have to know within your soul that it's all good. There are days when I do not feel like even getting out of bed. Like those type of days where it's cancel the day, I'm not here type of days. I do feel that way from time to time. But even in that, at the root of it all, you've got to know that it's all good. And this brings me to another point that I really, really, really want to make. It's not that you have to be positive all the time, jumping off the walls type of energy. This is a very common misconception, but nobody can sustain that level of bubbles. You're gonna have days where you don't feel as positive and cheery as you want to feel, and that's okay. The question is, on those days, on any day, how does your spirit feel? What does your spirit know? Think of it like a tree. The leaves are the most temporary part of it, right? And sometimes the leaves will sprout, and sometimes they wilt, and sometimes they quit, and they fall off entirely. But the trunk of the tree, or the roots, they last much longer, right? That's why people call it groundedness. Be grounded. Groundedness is a synonym for balance and wellness. The leaves are your emotions, and the root is your soul or your spirit. And as long as your root is healthy, your leaves will sprout again, and you'll get a full, lush tree, which in my analogy would be happy days, where you're really happy and everything is working out for you and everyone can see it. Actually, hold on to that tree for a second, because I can use it for another analogy that I think will help clarify things for you. Prerequisite number 2 is feel your preferred reality. How would you feel if you had what you wanted now? That's the simplest question that anybody could ever ask you regarding feeling your desired reality. However you would feel if you had your desired reality right now is what you want to feel right now, regardless of what the physical circumstances are showing you. So let's pick up our tree again and look at that. The leaves this time are the physical circumstances, and again, they are temporary because they will sprout, they will change colors, they will wilt, and they will fall off entirely, and the new leaves will sprout. Leaves are temporary. The root, however, is you. The root is your identity. If the root is a maple tree, what kind of leaves will it grow? Maple leaves. A maple root cannot grow up to be a birch tree sprouting birch leaves. So the root of a maple tree is not concerned about what kind of tree it'll grow up to be. It's not using the leaves to identify itself because it already knows itself. It already knows the laws of life. As long as you know that your roots are good, your roots are positive, your roots are in accordance with the type of leaves you wish to see, who really cares what kind of leaves are on your tree right now? So to bring it all back down into reality right now, if your physical circumstances are not appeasing you, you can use this as an opportunity to redirect yourself, or rather to redefine yourself, re-identify yourself according to what you want your physical circumstances to confirm for you. Because your physical circumstances, all they are the leaves of the tree. They just confirm what your root already is, what your seed already is, which is you, which is your identity, which is how you identify, how you name yourself, how you claim yourself, yes? Once you know you are in spiritual accordance with the kind of physical circumstances that you want to see, you're all good. The leaves of the old you no longer concern you. The physical circumstances of the old you no longer concern you, no matter what they may look like. Yes, you are seeing them, you are experiencing them, you are interacting with them, but you are not feeling them in here. You are emotionally detached from them. It's that type of detachment that we're referring to. When you ignore your physical circumstances, it does not mean that you stop paying all of your debt. You still have to do that, but is it inside of your heart? Is it inside of your spirit? Are you identifying with that debt? And if you are not, and you're instead identifying with riches and financial security and stability, that's all you need to know, hun. You tend to your root. Another thing I want to say really quickly, going off of my bullet points here, my little script. When I say go home, that's what I mean. You tend to your home, to yourself, to your spirit, to your identity. How do you identify? What is your name? How do you name yourself? And that's all you gotta do. Whoever confirms that for you, if they do not confirm that for you, that is none of your beeswax. It's about what's going on in here. Am I making sense there? I might make a whole other video about this because it's something really big. It's a whole other topic, and I think I need to elaborate more on it, but not in this video. But if you get it, let me know in the comments. To summarize it, to bring it all back home now and make it more clear, once you have changed by law, your reality must change. A maple seed will grow up to be a maple tree. A birch seed will grow up to be a birch tree, period. That's just the law of it. So, however you identify, that's who you will grow up to be, honey, and your reality will confirm that for you. But we do live in a physical world, a world of delay, which is why your old leaves need time to fall. Your old physical circumstances need time to dissipate. Hence why I always talk about patience. Patience. Patience is something that will come more easily to you when you are starting from a state of well-being. To reiterate, when you are well, you are not desperate to see the reality change instantly because you know who you are. You've already confirmed that to yourself. You've already claimed it. You are well. So it's all good. A common question everybody asks, and I used to ask it as well, is how do I feel the desired reality while I'm waiting for my old physical circumstances to dissipate? Repetition. That's prerequisite number 3. Visualization specifically. Affirmations, but with visualization. There are many people who find it quite challenging to visualize. And to that I say, if it's hard, just don't do it. Because the only point of visualization anyway was to help move you internally to the state of being where you already have whatever it is that you want. The universe does not see your pictures. It does not hear your words. It only feels your vibration, and it only feels however you identify. It feels your identity. Once you have found what it feels like to have what it is that you want now, you've found that state. Of course, ideally, you want to stay there. However, you cannot spend all day visualizing, which is why repetition is a nice little way to enter into that state and to identify with that identity more times than not. That's why Neville Goddard's SATs is such a nifty practice for many people, because traditionally it was taught to be performed at night before going to bed. That way you fall asleep in this state of being, you fall asleep as this identity, in this identity, and supposedly you get 8 hours worth of occupying this idyllic space. If you cannot visualize, then you can talk yourself into this preferred state of being. You can occupy spaces that move you vibrationally to your preferred identity. Reverend Ike, as we recently learned, was very huge on this. Really, all you have to do is just find a way to move yourself vibrationally to your preferred state of being. Identify with it. Claim it. That's what claiming means. Like your name is yours. You identify with your name, you identify with your preferred state of being, period. Again, no matter what the physical circumstances are showing you, hun. And patience, 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 patience. Oh my God, patience. Patience. Another question I often see is, do I still have to visualize every day for the rest of my life, even after I've achieved whatever it is that I wanted? Now, let me ask you a question to that question. Do you still visualize every single night the car that you now drive? Do you still visualize the house that you live in? The marriage that you are now entered into? No? No. The answer is no. Why? Well, because everything that you currently have right now physically in your life is all the evidence that you would ever need to believe that it's real. It's all the evidence you need to vibrationally align with it. You don't have to convince yourself anymore that it's there, because you can see it. Others can see it. All the minuses in your bank account tell you that your house and all of its bills are real. All the wrinkles on your forehead tell you that your dream of being a parent is real. We can see it. Others can see it. It's real. So in summation, for part 1, all of the prerequisites for manifesting things in your life is as follows. Number 1, you start from a state of well-being. Number 2, you feel your desired reality. And number 3, you repeat feeling your desired reality until it's physical. And go ahead and replace feeling your desired reality with identifying with your desired reality, because really that's a stronger term to use. Identify with it. Sounds crazy, but identify with it. Now, part 2 will consist of all of the book recommendations that I could ever offer you at this point, not just within the law of attraction / assumption, but all across the board, from alternative philosophies to science and self-development, psychology, things like that. I'm including all of these other books because they all have something very valuable to share with you. Some books are really good for helping you understand the way your brain works, so you can get a handle on your thinking patterns and habits. Others help you comprehend the workings of the universe, so you can understand concepts like timing and consciousness, while some other books are really good for opening your mind through mysteries, so you can release your attachment to everything you thought you knew. So without further delay, let's enter into part 2. Welcome to part 2. I'm just so happy to have you here. Before we get started, I want to say one little thing. We're going to be touching upon dozens of books in this section. So because of that, I chose to categorize all of these books. And I'm going to chapter them in the description box for you, so you can jump around throughout the categories as you see fit. The categories will be psychology and productivity. I'm going to also include a category called reality benders. We're obviously going to have the classic law books. After that, we're going to touch upon general well-being. And then to finish, let's do alternative philosophy. And so, yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and start with the first category, which was psychology and productivity. So the first book from Psychology and Productivity would be The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. After that, we've got The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, The Upward Spiral by Alex Korb, The One Thing by Gary Keller. I actually made a video on that one. It's an incredible book. Then we've got The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran. I know it's like Moran. The Molecule of More by Daniel Z. Lieberman. Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Incognito by David Eagleman. The Source by Tara Swart. You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza. Atomic Habits by James Clear. And Gifts Differing by Isabel Briggs Myers. So with these books, they are, I found them to be really, really good for helping you understand your brain. And I think this is incredibly important because, it's your brain that you use to think about what you want, matters like repetition or perspective. It's all starting from your brain and the way it works. So if you can try to understand a little bit more about the way you think and why you think that way in general, you can really work with yourself as you are and improve it. So I will always be an advocate for, no matter what your beliefs are or what your area of expertise is or whatever it is that you prefer to believe in. Like, I don't care if you're religious or not. I always think it's incredibly important to learn about your body, specifically your brain, because, that's how you interpret reality. That's how you perceive everything. Optimist, pessimist, realist, it's all coming down, or it's all rather starting from your brain and how it's been, what's the word I'm searching for? Like programmed. Yeah, that's a really good word. How is your brain programmed? How is your brain wired? And then why? And if you don't like the way it's wired, is there anything that you can do to change that? The answer is obviously yes, but how do you do that? So these books help you understand how you would go about correcting your brain. But first you understand what your brain is and what are your motivations, what are the things that drive you. I think one of these books here, yes, The Molecule of More by Daniel Z. Lieberman, it speaks heavily about dopamine, which is all about like what motivates you, why people do the things they do, things like infidelity, like it seemingly has nothing to do with creating your reality, your desired reality. But I think the more you understand about yourself, more specifically your brain, the more in control you are of your reality, the more in control you are of yourself, of your identity and how you identify. So I think these 12 books here are incredibly important. It's just my opinion, but yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. Now, the next category would be reality benders. So for this category, we've got Frequency by Penny Pierce, Reality Unveiled by Ziad Masri, Super Accelerated Living by Bentino Massaro, Quantum Success by Anne Sandra Taylor, The Biology of Belief by Bruce H. Lipton, The Silva Mind Control Method by Jose Silva, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, The Self-Aware Universe by Amit Goswami, Parallel Universes of Self by Frederick Dodson. Now, these books that I just listed, these 9 books, I believe it's 9, they are really good to open your mind to other concepts about reality in general. A lot of the information in these books, they really did blow my mind, and they helped me to think outside of the box. Not that I needed much help with that, but even further outside of the box. I do feel as though that is necessary, because a lot of the time we think we know what's possible for us, but in actuality we just do not. And if you can get to a point where you can see the wonder in everyday life and just the mystery in everything, that'll help you really believe in the probability of your dreams. At least, it did that for me, and I can't see how it wouldn't do that for anyone else. Now, a few things I want to say about Super Accelerated Living by Bentino Massaro. I hate to say it because I absolutely love his ideology, but a lot of the information in this specific book could just be found on his YouTube channel. So when I bought it, no shade, but I kind of did feel a little bit duped, because I studied all of his videos and they're all amazing. So what? Honestly, to be fair though, his videos are super long. Like, they can go on for probably over an hour. but at least this book condenses everything. So I guess it is good for condensing all of the information, but when I bought it, I already had all that information, so maybe that's why I felt that way. But if you do not watch his videos, or you do not intend on watching hours upon hours of his content, then definitely buy this book, and I highly recommend it. Reality Unveiled by 𝑩𝒖𝒊𝒏𝒆𝒔, again, highly recommend it. Quantum Success by Anne Sandra Taylor, highly recommend it. Now, Parallel Universes of Self by Frederick Dodson is a beautiful book that really speaks about identity shifts and quantum jumping. It's really good. However, there are numerous spelling errors within it, which, it used to bug me a lot when I was younger, but I've become like a lot more chill. Like, it is what it is. It's totally fine. In the back of my mind, I'm just thinking to myself, like, why the hell didn't he just hire an editor? But be that as it may, if you don't think that way, if spelling errors do not bug you as much as it used to bug me, then I would definitely get this book. Even if spelling errors bug you, then still get this book, because the content in it, oh my god, it's just absolutely amazing. Like, it definitely is a reality bender. Oh, I love that book. Let me see if there's anything else on this list that I want to quickly. Okay, well, yeah, we've got the Silva Mind Control, that's a classic, and then the Self-Aware Universe. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Psycho-Cybernetics. Actually everything on this list is something I would highly recommend. It opens your mind, and I love that. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say about those books in that category. Now, the next category is classic law books. So we've got The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, The Astonishing Power of Emotions by Abraham Hicks, The Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent by Abraham Hicks, The Law of Attraction, Plain and Simple by Sonia Ricotti, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, The Last Law of Attraction Book You'll Ever Need to Read by Andrew Lapp, The Magic of Manifesting, Books 1, 2, and 3 by Ryu Shinohara, Your Inner Conversations Are Creating Your World by Neville Goddard, Manifest by Roxy Nafusi, Law of Attraction by Michael J. Lozier, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard, Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard, Consciousness is the Only Reality by Neville Goddard, Your Faith is Your Fortune by Neville Goddard, Mental Diets by Neville Goddard, At Your Command by Neville Goddard, The Law and the Promise by Neville Goddard, The Power of Imagination by Neville Goddard, Freedom for All by Neville Goddard, Prayer, The Art of Believing by Neville Goddard. This is going to go on. By Neville Goddard, Seed Time and Harvest by Neville Goddard. Basically all the books of Neville Goddard. And again, basically all the books of Florence Scovel Shinn, but to name them so you actually know what to type in Amazon, it would be The Game of Life and How to Win It by Florence Scovel Shinn. Your Word is Your Wand by Florence Scovel Shinn. Secret Door to Success by Florence Scovel Shinn. So basically those books by Florence Scovel Shinn. Then Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks, The Vortex by Abraham Hicks, The Master Key System by Charles F. Haanel. That is a super old book, and I do recommend it. It's got some really good content within it. Oh, then we've got Accelerated Manifesting by Ryu Shinohara, excellent author. The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. So I think that's about 33 books. I wasn't really keeping count, but I'm going to guess. So, all these books here, these are the classic law books. And by classics, I don't mean like ancient. I just mean they all deal heavily with the law of attraction and or assumption. And they're all geared towards either inspiring you or sharing different creative techniques to help you know what to do mentally to get what you want. Let me see if there are any standouts within this little list. Oh, The Last Law of Attraction Book You'll Ever Need to Read by Andrew Lapp. That one I highly recommend. Anything by Ryu Shinohara is highly recommended. Of course, all the Neville Goddard books, but I'm assuming you've already read much of them. Of course, anything by Abraham Hicks is really wonderful. And let's see. Manifest by Roxy Nafusi. Now that one is quite beautiful. It takes manifestation and it makes it more modern. It's hard to describe what I mean by that, but I found that when I was reading it, it was a lot more relatable to modern experiences. So I really liked that. And let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, like I said, Ryu Shinohara, again, The Success Principles by Jack. I don't know why I'm saying again, because I didn't say this before. But anyways, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield is really awesome as well. And it's not just purely law of attraction / law of assumption. Hence why he named it The Success Principles, I would assume, because it's not just about getting things on a spiritual level. It's just like about how to be successful in general, including law of attraction and positive thinking and emotions, visualization, affirmations, identity, things like that. So it's just a really well-rounded book that touches upon many different concepts, many different areas. And I appreciate how vast and varied it is. So that's the end of that category. Let's move on to general well-being. So now this category, these books in this category will be good for, well-being in general, right? Some are more geared towards physical health, while others are more geared towards emotional health, things like self-love and such. Some are more spiritual, stuff like that. Hence why it's called general well-being, because wellness is it's all of it: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, all of that. It's all wellness. Anyways, these books in this category that I highly recommend are Set Boundaries, Find Peace by 𝑩𝒖💔𝒊𝒆𝒔. Then we've got Essentialism by Greg McKeown. We've got Hormonal by Marty Hasselton. Fast Like a Girl by Mindy Pelz. Now these two that I just listed, Hormonal and Fast Like a Girl, they're more so geared towards women, the female body. However, I'm trying to think if they would be useful for a guy. Maybe. I mean, because guys have hormones too. So maybe, but yeah, it's okay. I'll just say it's really, really, really good for females, is what I will say. Okay. After that, we've got Women Who Love Too Much by Robin Norwood. Actually, I would not be opposed to saying this is one that could work for men as well, because it just talks about the differences between men and women and our patterns, things like traumas, and how that can rear its head in our romantic relationships, in our relationships when we become mothers, how we view motherhood, things like that. Parenthood in general, you can because I'm sure there are men who love too much as well. So yes, definitely I would think that's a unisex type of book, but definitely it's one for women more so, but men could and would, if you're trying to find something useful from that book. So it was Women Who Love Too Much by Robin Norwood. After that, we've got Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus by John Gray. Welcome Home by Nawaz Bayan. We've got Ikigai by Hector Garcia. Hang on. Hector Garcia. I don't know why I'm doing that. Anyways, we've got Emotional First Aid by Guy Winch. Or is it Guy? No, I think it's Guy Winch. And then we've got The Things You See Only When You Slow Down by Sunil Hyman. There's no way it's pronounced Hyman. It's got to be Heyman. That's what I'm going to say. Sunil Heyman. Let's see if there are any standouts here. Oh, Welcome Home. Yes, by Nawaz Bayan. Beautiful book. Emotional First Aid by Guy Winch. That's a really good book that talks about your heart and how broken it might be, and how broken it might be without you even knowing. And I love that book because it helps you actually heal old wounds, old traumas that your heart has been taking over the course of your entire life. Things like rejection, little things like not being invited to the cookout. You had no idea how that may have shaped you, but it did, and you forgot about it. You forgot that your heart is broken, in a sense. This book is really good for kind of like exposing all the wounds that you thought were healed, right? But they were not healed, babe. They're just scarred and crusted over, and that's why you're such a crabby old bitch now, you know? Like, it really opens those things for you. It really brings a lot to your attention, things that you may have missed, you know, and I love it for that. The next one I really recommend is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Now, again, as you can see, this is not a law of attraction book at all, but it's beautiful for helping you in relationships, specifically romance, you know. It even helped me with like the relationship I have with my father. It helped me with the relationship I have with my brother, the relationship I have with my male friends, because I don't think like a man, you know. It's just not something that I can do. Men do think differently from women. That is a scientific fact. And I think if we can get to a point where we understand how differently we think, how different the sexes think biologically, then, you know, our love lives and just our lives in general pertaining to relationships would be a lot more smoother and far more harmonious. Women who love too much is another good one. My apologies, is another good one for that as well, although it more so focuses on you, on the individual, and why you think the way you think. And back to emotional first aid, actually, yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, that would help you understand what happened to make you the way you are today. No matter who you are, you could be the sweetest person ever or just the crabbiest person ever, but it's nice to know why, you know. And if you're interested in changing it, then these 3 books specifically will help you do so. Although Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, that one is more so helpful for helping you understand your partner or your future partners or whatever it may be. And then, yeah, it does help you understand yourself as well, you know. That is true. Okay, I am babbling on a little bit. Let's move on to the final category, which is alternative philosophy. So we've got The Secret Prayer. Oh my God. The Secret Prayer by Zhou Vitali. We've got The Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. The Essential Rumi by Rumi, of course. This is like a collection of all of his poetry and thoughts and parables. It's really lovely, very romantic. We've got Seneca's Letters from a Stoic. Cannot Hurt Me by David Goggins. It's not called Cannot, it's called Can't. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. How to Be a Stoic by Massimo Pigliucci. Anyways. Be Here Now by Ram Dass. Discourses and Selected Writings by Epictetus. Conversations with God 1, 2, and 3 by Neil Donald Walsh. Feline Philosophy by John Gray. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. No Mud, No Lotus by Thich Nhat Hanh. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. The Courage to Be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitaki Koga. The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. Love, Freedom, and Aloneness by Osho. The Wisdom of Insecurity by Alan Watts. The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Bleep by Mark Manson. All of these books here are what I would categorize as alternative philosophies. There's Hinduism, there's Buddhism, Taoism, and it's heavy on Stoicism. And more. There's actually like a lot more different philosophies here. I can't find any. I mean, like the philosophy of David Goggins. What the hell would we call that? So that's just something, that's just like hardcoreism. But okay, anyways, these books here, they're not technically a necessity, okay? But I do personally think they are a necessity because they help you let go of things that you're not supposed to control, okay? So, like, for example, other people, when people are trying to manifest their love interests, for example, they tend to come at it from a place of controlling that person and then watching for signs of their manifestation in that person's behavior. But, honey, that's just wrong. You know, and any law book worth its salt will tell you to just occupy the space, and that's that. Forget about what the physical circumstances are telling you. Forget about things like timing. It's all irrelevant to you. And these other philosophies help you do just that. Well, they helped me do just that. So let me see if there are any standouts. Well, anything on Stoicism I will always recommend. It's such a life-saving philosophy for so many people. I've heard so many stories of people who were just, at the edge of life. They found Stoicism and then they found themselves. So anything by Stoicism, I would definitely recommend. Alan Watts, he's like an intermediate philosopher. Okay, we recently read his book over. My members and we recently read his book together. This one, The Wisdom of Insecurity, we read that over on members, and like ask anybody who was there with me for that. The guy is intermediate. Like you really need to stencil out a very good portion of your life to understand what he's talking about. But once you get it, oh my God, you cannot unring that bell. It's just so beautiful. Oh, and then anything by Thich Nhat Hanh. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Again, I highly recommend that. Osho is a really good author. Really, really good author. And this book specifically, Love, Freedom, and Aloneness, my apologies, is really good for teaching you about an alternative perspective to love. Okay? An alternative perspective to how to love, like a different way to love, which is, it's like it teaches you what unconditional love really is. When someone is truly loving someone, that person should feel free. Like that was one thing he said. Of course, I'm not quoting him verbatim, but that was the essence of it. To really love a person means they feel free, and that really struck me. I mean, that could be a reality bender book as well, but yeah, it was a very interesting book. That one's beautiful. And then The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra, of course, I recommend that. And then The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Again, it's a very freeing, gentle type of book that teaches you how to be gentle with yourself and with others and with life and with reality and just be gentle. Be gentle. I love that. And then we've got Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, which is about staying hard. Stay hard. All of these books are just so beautiful. Some of them are just, they're opposites. But I think if you can read them all, or at least read the books that seem to differ quite a bit, then you'll find something in the middle that works for you. And it's just wonderful. So I have a tendency of you get me talking about books, man. I can go on talk, but I won't, because it's gonna be a mother to edit this video, and I don't want to waste your time. That's not fair to you. So I'm gonna call it there. I don't know how many books those were. I know it was definitely dozens. I don't know if it was 100, but I might have to make a part 2 of this part 2 for you guys with even more book recommendations. If you're interested, you'll have to let me know in the comment section down below. So yes, those were all of the books that I wanted to recommend, and this brings us to the close of part 2. Thank you for sharing this time and space with me. So I did not have time to create a closing thoughts portion of this video, but I do hope that you found it enlightening and helpful to you and your journey here. And the book recommendations, if anything stuck out to you, then I encourage you to get that book and read it, hon. There is so much out there to learn, and it's all very exciting to me, and I hope you love learning too, because it's fun. Anyways, with that being said, thank you for watching this video. I truly do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I trust you'll give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more content just like this one. So, how did you like today's video? And what video would you like to see next? You let me know in the comment section down below. I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Toodles.